like Monday mornings as a special, we have our Agro corner, and I'm always looking forward to speaking with the esteemed and accomplished men and women in the agricultural sector. And today it's no different. I like to call him our resident agriculturalist. He speaks on everything from farmland to livestock to everything you can think about concerning agriculture. Dr. Crooks is here, Dr. Paul Crooks, and he is let me say it again, for those of you who are just joining, he is the Veterinary Officer, Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment, and Sustainable Development. So I hope I said everything that needed to be said. And I am very honored, I'm very esteemed to have this other gentleman who is sitting on the brunch set with me. Kristofer Warner joins us, and he is the Assistant Treasurer, Tobago Integrated Livestock Association. Did I get that correctly, guys? So good morning to you. So Dr. Crooks, how are you doing?
Good morning.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. Well, unfortunately, I found giant African snail in my yard about 3 nights ago. So every night for the last 3 nights, I've been out. It's been very humid. It's very hot. Lifting a bucket with no handles, packed full of snails. We probably, in that neighborhood alone, have caught about 1,500 or 1,700 snails in just 3 nights.
Wow. And is it that they regenerate very quickly? Their breeding process is so fast that they multiply at large numbers. How are we dealing with this?
Okay, so
if there are any steps towards eradication, tell us just a bit about that.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, in the Trinidad experience, it feels hopeless. The government did try an initiative where people were paid, I believe it was $5 per pound of snails that they could capture and bring in to the agricultural offices in Trinidad.
Right.
But in Trinidad, with all of the flooding and drain water that moves from place to place, the snails are basically everywhere.
Right.
It's unlikely you'll go to any location in Trinidad and not see giant African snails, unless, I suppose, it's a very urban environment. The giant African snails are dangerous for a number of reasons. One is they transmit the rat lungworm. The rat lungworm is not supposed to affect people, but in medicine, random things happen randomly, and the rat lungworm can get into somebody's body and erratically migrate and go into the brain. You can get meningitis, all sorts of very negative outcomes from that. Then the snails also outnumber other local species of snails. Snails have an important function in the ecosystem. They are scavengers. So when you have these giant African snails outnumber our local snails can't compete in terms of what it is they need to eat. So you'll have our local species, scavengers, dying off because of competition. And then the giant African snail themselves, they multiply very rapidly. A giant African snail has to be roughly 3 inches long to be an adult. They're hermaphrodites, but they still have a sexual form of reproduction. So you need 2 adult snails, roughly that size, to reproduce. And then these snails can lay anywhere between 50 to 500 eggs in one clutch. And the danger is, if you find a snail that size approximately or larger, and you crush it or throw bleach on it or whatever you do while it's in the environment, the animal now, when traumatized, may just release the eggs. So our recommendation is glove up, at least wear plastic bags, capture the animals in buckets, and use bleach and water. There are various mixtures, and literature can be made available for anyone who's curious if you come to the Military office. But basically, bleach and water in a bucket, put those snails right in there. If they release the eggs in there, good for them. They're never going to be able to make babies. And you can either, when the buckets are full, double bag and put them in the garbage. That is, all the snails are already dead and contained in this bucket with bleach. Or you can burn the snails. So these animals very importantly, how they impact agriculture is that they eat basically every type of plant you can imagine. And the costs for control of these animals can become very, very high. If you just consider, well, not only the manpower it takes to walk around every night and capture these snails, but also the cost of bleach. Then you have to buy more bleach that you wouldn't have had to buy before. If you consider the cost of the baits that can be used, if you consider the cost of spraying, the cost of clearing an area, of burning, there's so many costs, so much labor, so much time it takes. Because even if you don't grow any crops, just seeing these snails crawling on your wall will crawl your blood.
Yes.
And we have established on the island probably about 8 places where the snail exists. So what we're doing for this year's World Food Day, of course, we have the calendar events that we can share, and we'll talk about the Lamb Festival.
Talk about that. Of course, yeah.
But for this year's World Food Day, we have a specific horticulture market occurring on November 7th. And that horticulture market will be the only place this year where plants and seedlings will be sold. At all the other events, we have green markets in the east, we have green markets in the west at the Scarborough Food Hub, the Shore Park Food Hub. We have the Lamb Festival, and then we have the grand exhibition days themselves. At all of these other events, we'll have produce, market goods, honey, wines, all sorts of things, but not plants. The reason is that at that horticulture event, what we're going to do is we're going to speak to the vendors who are selected. They will be told about how to bring the plants in. The plants will have to be at the site at least 24 hours before to be treated with a special spray. So that's our way to try to protect consumers.
Yes.
24 hours later, the plants are good to go. You could eat the plants, you could do whatever you want with them, you could handle them, but we have to spray every plant that is sold. So we're having a separate horticulture market where all plants, seedlings, everything will be sold on that day.
You know, I'm listening to the level of protection, but it's also the mitigation of it, because you want to make sure that there is very little, if any, very little occurrence of any type of, abnormalities happening, and it goes to show that we're dealing with something that is much more than just a pest. It's affecting so many aspects of the agricultural sector. But are there any positives to this species at all? I keep hearing about what it does that's not good. But is there anything at all that you can say about the giant African snail that is
okay?
A good thing?
This is an interesting exercise. They're pretty. The shells look pretty nice. They're very unique. And there are people who've eaten the snail.
Okay.
I don't know who. I don't know anybody personally, but I suppose in Trinidad and Tobago we eat everything. So I suppose there will be people who try to cook them, and if they're prepared well, they probably taste good. I would probably never know. But at the same time, those are the things that I could say that maybe are good, because in some places they are farmed. And but basically, if they're not contained, and it's very easy to lose containment of them, the babies are very tiny. If they're not contained, they're a pest, ultimately, a very invasive species that causes damage to the environment and puts human health at risk.
Okay, and we're going to go for a break, but before we do that, what about the animal life consumption of these snails? There may be predators that would eat these snails. What happens then?
Well, as you know, they transmit the rat lungworm. So
yes, let's reiterate that.
Rodents that consume these snails can get the lungworm.
Right.
But other species usually should not have a problem. In other countries, for various types of pests, there has been attempt to use biological control, bring in a new species, a predator species, but then usually in those cases, the predator species themselves become invasive.
Right.
But there are birds and so on that eat the snails. So that is something that could happen. But of course, again, they would be traumatizing the snails and causing the release of eggs anyway. So that's really not the best case scenario.
You know, the information is it's so much to take in. It's so much to grasp because the giant African snail has been like a buzz. It's just buzzing around the Tobago space. Well, the Trinidad and Tobago space, if I might mention. And eradication is something that, okay, yes, we need to implement, and we need to implement as quickly as possible. But I am thinking of the damage. There's so much damage that can come about from this one species, and then they multiply so rapidly. So what should one do if you see a snail, a giant African snail, anyway, near your plants, near your home? Just reiterate before we go to the break, what should a consumer do?
First of all, I don't remember the plant protection hotline offhand.
Right.
Message me, 383-4451. Send me a WhatsApp, send me a picture. Let's identify the species, because there are local snails that could look similar.
Right.
That's one. Two, once we have a confirmation of the giant African snail in a community, it takes every person to play a part. Giant African snail infestation in one yard will not stay in one yard. It is a community effort that is required to tackle this.
Right.
So members of the team, the Giant African Snail team from the Plant Protection Unit, will come out to your community, will sensitize you, and will work alongside you to trap the snails and contain them.
Okay, just for our viewers, just repeat the number again where you can be reached.
So you can message me at 383-4451, and I will give you the plant protection hotline from there.
Right. And there you have it, guys. We are going to take a break and we're going to be right back. But we're going to be talking about Lamb Festival. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. We're going to hear from our representative, Mr. Kristofer Warner, and we are going to delve in to what this event is all about and also the calendar of events for World Food Day 2023. We'll be right back with Brunch, a Taste of Tobago. See you guys. Welcome back to Brunch, a Taste of Tobago. I love Mondays because of the agricultural corner. I love having these topics of discussion. Before we went on the break, I would have indicated to you guys that we're going to be talking about Lamb Fest 2023. And my next guest, I introduced him earlier, but he's so, humble and so quiet. You guys would not even remember that he's here with us. Kristofer Warner joins us. And Kristofer is the Assistant Treasurer to the Tobago Integrated Livestock Association. And he's going to be talking to us about Lamb Fest 2023. So Kristofer, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. And, I love the fact that we're getting this information. I love the fact that because I'm doing this show, I am privy to, really relevant, pertinent, interesting conversations. So Lamb Fest 2023, just tell us a bit about how this initiative came about.
Okay, well, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning to the viewers. Well, this initiative was a conversation between members of the Tobago Integrated Livestock Association. We would have tried to think of ideas to really push meat consumption and really lamb consumption in Tobago, right? So we had a conversation and we said, okay, what can we do? What event could we do to push? What meat is not really being consumed as much in Tobago? And we came up with lamb because there are a lot of sheep farmers, but we don't consume much lamb as a people in Tobago, okay? So we then had a conversation with Mr. Crooks and some reps at Agro, which then transformed into what we call the Tobago Lamb Fest, right? The idea was heard by the secretary, Mrs. Natasha Pantin, and she absolutely loved the idea. She ran with it from the first jump, and she sponsored the event alongside Tadco. And I must say a thanks to them because they really run with the event. They didn't hesitate, they didn't back out. It was amazing to see the collaborative effort between the three parties.
Yes.
Tiller, we give our vision, our initiative, and they give the assistance and the cooperation.
Yeah, and good morning to Tatco. Oh my gosh, you guys are doing wonderful, wonderful things. You are pioneers, you are trailblazers, and we thank you so much for your eye for design, your eye for initiatives. We are really thankful. So good morning to Tatco. Mr. Dylan, how are you doing? I hope you're having a good day. So Kristofer, back to you. Who is the Tobago Integrated Livestock Association?
Okay, the Tobago Integrated Livestock Association is a non-profit organization ably led by Mrs. Vanessa Nichols. She's the president. Our aim is really to help the development of the Livestock Association in Trinidad and Tobago, more Tobago. We want to create an industry whereby farmers get the correct value for the product. All the hard work they give out, we want them to see the true financial benefit, of all the hard work and all their patience, because this industry is not easy at all, and the mind frame of farmers nowadays is that it's a lot of hard work and limited money. But we are saying to you, once we team up with the right stakeholders, the Secretary of Food Production, the community at whole, we can get this thing running. We can get farmers to a place where they believe that this is a sustainable environment.
Yes.
A sustainable market where you could see profit from it.
Yeah, I love the fact that you have delved into so many aspects, and I just hear the questions going off in my mind, and he's answering before I could say what I needed to say, and I absolutely love that, because you're speaking on something that you are very true about, something that you know about, and so the ideas just flow, and you're giving us the answers that we need, and I totally, absolutely get that. I love it. What can we expect from LambFest? What do we see and experience when we come to this event?
All right. Well, first I want to touch on the cause of the LambFest. As I said again, I just want to reiterate, we want to ensure the industry is sustainable and profitable. That being said, this LambFest will highlight all different lamb dishes, because the narrative is that when you rear lamb, you only slaughter it for a wedding, or September coming up, you have to buy school books. No. We want to remove that narrative. We want to show that this thing could be sustainable throughout the year. So at the LambFest, you will see various dishes. We have different caterers. There will be livestock there, actual livestock there to be sold. We'll have stuff like bouncy castles for the children. So you have a place to bring your children so they could have fun while you enjoy your dishes.
Yes.
In a safe, enjoyable space. We'll have a full stock bar, delicacies to choose from. Also we have vendors that will have different local dishes. And it will just be an enjoyable event.
It sounds like so much, it's like a buzz. Do you get the buzz? It's like when you enter, there is so much to see. There's so much to experience.
Correct.
And LambFest is no different. When can we look forward to visiting you guys for LambFest? When is the event carded?
All right, the event is carded for October the 8th, 2023 at the Food Hub. It starts at 10 a.m. It finishes at 6 p.m.
Okay. What are some of the other events we can look forward to? Dr. Crooks, you want to take this one?
No problem.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to add something here for the LambFest first of all. Right now, if livestock farmers are interested, please message me at 383-4451. We actually have a competition ongoing.
Right.
We are asking farmers, women and junior farmers, junior being 18 to 30, and women farmers. We are trying, Secretary Panton really is interested in getting rid of this inequality and gender gap in lifestyles and productivity and careers. We want to push that everyone can be a livestock farmer. So whether you are a junior farmer or a woman farmer, we actually have a video essay competition. And winning videos will be shown at the Lamb Festival.
Okay.
So the idea is a woman farmer or junior farmer can create a video essay that depicts why they chose the career, livestock farming, the challenges that they've encountered in going into this career, and how they overcame those challenges.
Right.
So we're going to have that video essay competition for this Lamb Festival event, and we'll be showing throughout the day the videos from these winners on the screens at the Shore Park Food Hub. As well, we're going to have another competition where farmers can design innovative technologies and show off, and we're going to try to get some 3D models and so on. People are going to try to design housing and adapt the housing to the local issues and limitations we have, utilize newer technology, renewable energy, have new designs for management of waste, forage preservation. How do we ensure that in the dry season, livestock farmers are not selling off all of their ruminants because they have no grass to eat?
Yes.
So all of these competitions will be featured at the Tobago Lamb Festival. If the calendar of events on the whole, we have a seminar series that is ongoing through the month September, October, and November. The seminars are going to be marketed through targeted marketing. So the calendar is up on screen right now. So for the calendar of events, the seminar series, you all will be called, you will get WhatsApps, but pay attention to our Facebook page, the Division of Food Security Facebook page, Instagram, and you will see all of the updates there. From today to Wednesday the 13th, if you would like to sell your products at any of the events on the Grand Exhibition, you can register. Go into Milshirv office at the Division of Food Security, near licensing, and you can register to have your booths at the Grand Exhibition, at the Lamb Festival, at the horticulture event, and so on. So that's happening from today to Wednesday. There's also a spoken word competition for school children, and that is happening on the 22nd of February. The schools would have been contacted, and entry forms are available on the Facebook page, as well as you can go into the Milshirv office today to register.
Right.
And then we have 2 green markets. So at the World Food Day Grand Exhibition itself, we are focusing more on education and building farmers' businesses. We really want to push farming as a business. As Mr. Warner said, you know, marketing is an extremely important part
yes,
of
vital.
running a good business. People here in Tobago are not consuming lamb and not consuming mutton because they haven't been introduced to it, because it's not a common thing. You watch TV, people are eating chicken, they eat all sorts of exotic foods as well, but lamb is not a major part of our diet because we don't push it as such. This is what the Lamb Festival is about, and that's October 8th. The green markets, so since we're focusing on education and so on, and the Grand Exhibition, the green markets allow opportunities for the vendors to have their own days. So you'll have produce for sale, honey, wine, various meals that will be prepared, snacks. And the green market will be on Thursday, October 5th at Sid Gray Car Park in Roxborough, as well as on Tuesday, October 10th at the Shore Park Food Hub. So the Shore Park Food Hub is the star for many of these events. So we have 2 green markets right around the Lamb Fest, the Thursday before in Roxborough and the Tuesday after at the Shore Park Food Hub. And then the Grand Exhibition is on the 18th and 19th of October. And finally, we have the horticulture market on the 7th of November. We also have a 4-H gardening competition for primary schools that will be going on from November right through to next year, June, at the close of the school term next year. So we have a packed schedule of events.
I'm so thankful because the information that you managed to just compile in this short space of time is so wonderful. And I want to thank you, gentlemen, so much for joining us. Kristofer, thank you so much for giving us your time. Dr. Crooks, you know you're always on this show. You're like a yadi, right? And thank you so much for joining us. So guys, look out for these wonderful events. The Division of Agriculture, oh my gosh, food security, all of those discussions that we're having. World Food Day is upon us. Come, be a part of it. Go into the office, register, get involved, do what needs to be done, right? And let's change the narrative of our agricultural sector. We're going to take a break and we're going to be right back with more Brunch, a taste of Tobago. But before we do that, guys, our trivia question for today: how many parishes are there in Tobago? You guys should get this, right? This is easy enough. How many parishes are there in Tobago? We're going to take a break and we're going to be right back with more Brunch. See you guys soon.